Welcome to Style Masterclass, the podcast that teaches women to look stylish and feel confident so that they can show up ready to conquer and slay no matter what size they are. I'm your host, Miss J. You ready? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 119 of the Style Masterclass podcast. This week, I want to talk to you about style shame. I'm actually going to use the work of a psychotherapist named Joseph Burgo, and he identifies 4 different types of shame. I'm going to deal with 3 because I think they so beautifully explain the experience of a plus-size woman, a curvy woman, and the issues that she may have faced with style, particularly with shopping. And I want to delve into this because I think a lot of the ladies I work with, they experience feelings of being alone, or maybe they're crazy, or are they the only one? Has this only happened to them? And then they don't talk about their experiences, which, as we know, when you don't talk about the things that you feel shameful about, it just has a compounding effect. It's like putting a little bit of dust underneath a rug and then being like, oh, I didn't really clean that. That dust is under the rug. And then sweeping some more dust under the rug and more dust under the rug till we're walking over these giant lumpy piles of our rug, as opposed to just picking the whole damn thing up, airing it out, and then finding some freedom. So that's what I want to offer all of you today, some freedom to let you know you are not alone. If you've experienced any of the things I'm going to talk about right now, you are definitely not alone, and welcome. You have a home here. You are not crazy, and you are definitely not the only one. So the first kind I want to talk about is called unwanted exposure. Burgo talks about like being walked in on while you're naked. Well, maybe that has happened to you specifically, but I think that sense of being exposed happens a lot to plus size curvy women, particularly when it comes to a bra fitting situation. We already maybe have some thoughts about our breasts, about our bellies, about our back fat. And then we get into a situation where we absolutely need a bra fitting to take place. And then the really pushy saleswomen sort of like push their way into the dressing room with you, even though you really don't want them in there. And then they're all up in your goodies. They're moving your breasts. They're trying to measure you, and maybe they're well-intended. Those lovely women at Lane Bryant or Nordstrom's, they might be totally well-intended, that you feel very exposed. Or if you had the scenario like I had when I had gone from being a triple D cup to a G/H, depending on the type of brand you buy from, it would be different. So I had always bought from Victoria's Secret because I didn't know better. I was living in New York at the time, and my friend was like, hey, you're kind of getting a booby bubble. I think it's time. So we went to Victoria's Secret, and I was shamed by the sales lady. Perhaps she was well-intended, but I remember her coming up to me, poking my booby bubble, just like tapping it and being like, you're wearing the wrong size bra. We don't carry your size. And clearly she knew her craft. She could spot my cup size probably a mile away. And I love women who know their craft. I love bra fitting experts who know their stuff, but I felt super exposed and super embarrassed. And I know so many of you have so many similar stories. It's partly why I'm sharing mine with you today. Again, so that you know you're not alone. I also had the experience when I was having a lady exam, which I'm sure if I gathered a group of women around a table and we had stories exchanged about our lady examinations that we've had, our gynecological examinations, our yearlies, we would have like just a mountain of horror stories to share amongst ourselves. But this happened to be a lady doctor that I went to see, and I was undressed. And I remember I had gained a significant amount of weight between law school and when I went to see her. My first year law school, I gained 60 pounds. So I'm on the table with her, and she picks up my breasts and heaves it in her hand and says, wow, that's really heavy. Like, what was the point of that? Again, I felt so embarrassed. I felt so ashamed. And I know so many of you have had crazy similar experiences. The second kind of shame I want to talk to you about is disappointed expectation. This happens a lot, not just with our bodies, because I think unwanted exposure happens to do a lot with like our actual physical body, which if you're a plus size curvy woman, that actually matters. And if you're skinny and if you're in between, obviously that matters. But I think a lot of the plus size women experience, particularly in the medical field or in bra fitting or situations where their body parts are exposed, they get shamed for the size of their body part. So that's why I want to talk about that kind. But there's also this other kind of disappointed expectation. And I think the experience I can share and probably all of you can relate to is going to a store and you're like super excited about what you see on the mannequin. You're like, oh my gosh, that is so cute. So you go into the store and you're all excited and you're looking for your size and you realize the sizes stop at a size 12 or a size 14. And there's nothing in the store for you. And the sales ladies don't make eye contact with you. They kind of avoid you because they know they don't carry your size. Or you have the really brash one who thinks she's going to tell you and she comes and tells you, ma'am, we don't carry your size. You can shop on our online store. They might have it. Like, who's had that experience? Raise your hand. If you're listening to this in the car in the audio only, I want you to write to me later and tell me, yes, Ms. J, I have had that experience. It's so incredibly disappointing. Now, most of us are shopping online these days, so we don't have that kind of an experience, but there's still that disappointed expectation when you go to a site and you're like, oh my gosh, look at their new lookbook, look at the new catalog. It's so cute. You go, you look, and your size is not there. And then some shame accumulates because then the thoughts start. Why can't they ever find it in my size? Something must be wrong with me. I should lose weight so that I can fit into these clothes. As opposed to thinking something is wrong with this store. Something is wrong with these clothes because they don't fit my body. You hear me talk about this a lot, but I want to reiterate to all of you. Remember, the clothing is an auditioning for a role in your life. The clothing is auditioning to come to your party. You don't have to change anything about your body, your shape, your weight, or your size in order to cram yourself into clothing. What is clothing? Clothing is a pile of fabric that has been uniquely stitched in a particular way. So we call it jeans, we call it a dress, or we call it a shirt, but it has no magical abilities. You don't have to do a damn thing to your body to enjoy it and to dress it well. That clothing was just not for you. Something's wrong with that store or that item of clothing. And I want to talk more about these kinds of stories because I want to normalize like our experiences amongst ourselves so that there's no more shame. Because when we rid ourselves of the shame and we collectively look at each other and go, oh, you too? Oh, girl, I know. Then we can start to really have that ripple effect of, okay, well, if it's not me and there's not a damn thing wrong with me, then I start to demand change. I won't shop at stores that don't carry my size. I don't recommend stores that don't carry my size. I support brands that are inclusive, like Universal Standard. I support plus size brands like Eloquai. Like I start to look for where my people are. And you can do the same thing too. And last, I want to talk to you about exclusion. This is a third type of sort of shame paradigm that Burgo talks about. So many of us have spent so much of our lives waiting outside the dressing room while our thinner friends, our thinner counterparts go on shopping extravaganzas. And they're like, why don't you get something? Like totally not understanding that they don't make it in your size. And you feel so excluded. Every time you scroll to look for your size and it's not there, exclusion, exclusion, exclusion. As if something was wrong with the plus size curvy women and the stores are just, addressing the normal people. That's not the reality. The reality is most of us are considered plus size. The average woman is about a size 14 in the United States. Most women have some form of curves, even if they identify as skinny or thin. The reality is that you're a human and your body is full of curves. If you are a human woman, you have curves, you have soft places. You're not alone. Like, welcome. Welcome. You are in a boat with some amazing women. But I know when we feel excluded and we tell ourselves there's no place for us and we don't take up space and we tell ourselves that narrative, we stop seeing that there's so many lovely options available to us. We stop seeing the other women around us as having shared stories or similar stories, when we don't talk about the things that have happened to us, we don't get the benefit of having another woman look at us and say, oh, yes, me too. And here's what I learned. Here's where I shop now. Here's how I handle it. When we remove the shame and we start to collect each other's stories and look at each other frankly and see each other as we are, then the ripple effect of us showing up stylish and confident, it'll be amazing. But it starts with you. And I'm starting it with me. I'm sharing my stories with you because I want to hear your stories, your similar experiences. And I want you to start sharing them with the other gals. I want you to really be bold because there's nothing to be ashamed of. Your weight, your size is perfect just as it is. Something is absolutely wrong with stores that don't carry your size. You can wear whatever the hell you want and you don't have to do a damn thing to your body. I want to offer you to come do this work with me in a group of women. I think there's something powerful about watching other women get coached, sharing stories, and getting in community with other fabulous women. My group coaching program is now open. If you are interested, click below in the show notes. You can schedule a consult with me, or you can learn more at judithgaton.com/style-school. Until next week, my darling, Miss J out. Thank you for listening to today's episode. To learn more about how to work with me, go to judithgaton.com. Click on the Start Here button to get access to my free personal style class. I give you a quick style win, a confidence boost, and you walk away with the tools to start getting stylish. Who doesn't love that? See you there. Miss J out.